Hey guys, Rick Stone here from Our Stony Acres. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about when and how to harvest garlic. And I'm excited about this one because this is the first major harvest for the season from our garden. Our garlic is ready to be pulled out and it's time to do it, and so I'm excited about this video. Before we get started, please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that notification bell so you get notice every time I release new videos. Go over and follow us on Instagram as well. And make sure you stick around till the end because I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Gardening Academy and a free 14-day trial offer that we have for you. So stick around to the end on that one as well. All right, so garlic. When I first started growing garlic, I was a little confused as to when you should harvest it. And there's a lot of different information out there. We didn't have YouTube back when I was learning this, and so I kind of fumbled through and found my own process that seems to be working really well for us. In fact, we just finished using the last of last year's garlic about 8 weeks ago. And so we had our garlic last in storage for about 10 months this year, which is really good. So I feel like my method's working, so hopefully it'll work out for you guys as well. So let me give you a couple of best practices first. So if possible, you should try and not water your plants for about 7 days before you harvest. Now, that's an if possible. This year for me, it's not possible because my garlic happens to be in the rotation. It's sitting in the middle of the bed. So I've got onions over here, I've got potatoes back here. Those need to be watered. And so the garlic, was watered about 4 days ago. So I'm waiting till the very last minute and I'm trying to do my best. But best practice about 7 days, but do your best, because the thing you don't want to do is leave your garlic in too long waiting for that 7 day, of dry period. So do your best to harvest it when it's a little bit drier. Is what that does is it helps our bulbs to dry out and cure a little bit quicker. But again, it's not the end of the world if you don't get those 7 days in, okay? All right, so let's talk about how we know when to harvest our garlic. And this is a bulb that I just harvested a few minutes ago. And best way to know is when the bottom 4 or 5 leaves have dried up. And unfortunately, when I was harvesting this one, a couple of the leaves actually fell right off, but you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 of the bottom leaves. About 50% of the total foliage has dried up, and that means that we're ready to go. Is what we want is we want some dried outside, but we still want things to be nice and tight inside, okay? So about 50%, 4 or 5 of these leaves dried up is when you harvest, okay? And it should happen pretty much to the entire bed of whatever variety that you're working with. And so that's when we should be getting it done. Now, a couple of other best practices for you. Number one, we don't want to be pulling these bulbs out of the ground, okay? We want to do everything that we can to protect this bulb and the cloves that are inside so that everything stays tight and protected in here, in this part of it. So we don't want to be yanking these guys out of the ground. That's going to put stress. It's going to cause these to separate. We don't want that to happen. So instead, you need to dig them out. And so you're going to use something like a little spade, or if you're doing a big bed like I'm going to be doing, you can use a digging fork. And you want to get back away from the plants so that you're not accidentally cutting into the bulbs, and you pry that up and loosen them up before you pull them out so that we're not putting stress on those bulbs, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and harvest this little bed of garlic, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit about what we need to do to dry and cure it for storage. Okay, so I am super happy with this harvest. We've got about 35 total plants here. Everything looks really good. The bulk of the plants are really nice, big, tight cloves, so I'm super happy. Good year to film a video, I guess. One thing that I did want to mention is now we have this little space. It's about a 4x4 foot space that's empty, okay? We want to make sure that we get this filled in, and so there are plenty of things that you can be doing to fill this space in. And I just did a video last week. You can click on it right there that will tell you some of the things that you can be planting in an empty space like this. We are going to be putting in some beans here. So we're going to put some bush beans in so that we have a nice fall harvest of bush beans. So now let's go over and we'll talk about drying these out. Okay guys, before we actually lay the garlic out here, I wanted to talk really quick about what I've got happening here. There's a million different ways to dry your garlic. The overall idea for drying and curing your garlic is to make sure that there's plenty of air circulation, okay? So the way I've accomplished that is I built this little screen. It's been around for a long time. I use it for all kinds of things. I dry my garlic, my onions, my popcorn on it. I also use it to sift compost. So it's just a 4x4 frame with some chicken wire on it that gets it up so that the garlic is not on the ground. And I usually will just set it across a couple of sawhorses like this. And then we put it in the garage. So it won't be outside. It will ultimately end up in the garage, but it's hard to film in the garage. So let me get the garlic. And number one, man, this is amazing. It smells delicious. So it basically is what we want to do is just get this garlic spread out so that it's fairly separated. You know, if you've got, like here, I've still got some clumps. We want to make sure we get that dirt off as best we can. You won't be perfect, but we're going to try and get the dirt out of the roots. And then we're just going to spread this garlic out so that it's hopefully not touching. And again, that's what's kind of nice about this screen is we can kind of set it all out here like this. And then we're going to let it sit for about 3 weeks. And what's going to happen over that 3-week period is these tops are going to dry completely. The roots are going to dry off. And once these tops have completely dried back and we've got kind of a nice crispy papery feel to them, then we simply cut the roots off and we cut the top off. And then we store them in some type of mesh bag. Now, if you have a soft neck variety like mine and you would like to braid it, that's fine. You can braid it as well. But here's the key to getting a good long-lasting storage on your garlic. It needs to have air circulation. So if you're going to store it in a bag, it needs to be a mesh bag, and it needs to be somewhere cool and dark. And that is not your kitchen, which is why we don't braid our garlic, because then the temptation is to hang it up somewhere because it looks so cool. And I totally understand that. It looks really cool. If you think you're going to use your garlic up in 3 or 4 months, then that's fine. You can hang it in your kitchen. But if you want long storing garlic like we do, we want this to be able to last all the way through the winter, then it needs to be somewhere cool and dark. So our garlic starts out in a dark room in our basement where it's cool, and then once the fall weather arrives and our garage has cooled off, we'll actually take the bag and hang it out in the garage. Temperatures in our garage stay just above freezing all winter long, and so that is a great place. Again, cool and dark will make for the long storage, okay? And then use it up. Make sure that you save some of your biggest and best cloves to plant for next year, and you'll have your own crop, okay? Now, I did do a little bit more extensive curing and storing onion post years ago, like years and years ago. If you want to check that one out, this is like one of my first videos. It was like number 10 on the list. You can click on that right there and go see me 6 years ago. But this is garlic, and it's that simple. Harvest when about 50% of the leaves are dried off. Let them sit for about 3 weeks to cure in a nice dark, airy area, and you are good to go, okay? All right, if you have any questions, please make sure you let me know, and I will answer those in the comment section down below. And while I've got you, make sure that you go check out the Gardening Academy. So the Gardening Academy is our monthly membership service. It's a great way to support us here on the Stony Acres channel. And we have just an amazing lineup of courses and monthly topics and just lots of great stuff. We do a Q&A every month that's specific for the members. Just a great place to be, fairly inexpensive. There's a free trial offer that we're doing right now. You can click on the link down in the description for a 14-day free trial. I will warn you, more than half of the people that try the free trial end up staying, okay, because it's that good. I love my Gardening Academy members, and I really try to treat you guys right, and so that's a great way to support us here at Stony Acres. I'd love it if you go check it out and try that free trial out so that you can become a full-time member. Okay, thanks guys, this has been a great one. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that notification bell so you get notice every time I release new videos. And go over and follow us on Instagram as well, okay? All right, that's it for this week. Everybody have a fantastic week. Happy gardening.